So being a GitHub campus expert means something. Now I can talk a lot about this topic, but I can highlight this in two brief points. So like I said, we help people and we create opportunities for our local community. For you, that's the UCSC. Now, like I said, we have two flagship events, the GitHub Universe Watch Party and the Field Day. The actual events happens in the US, and I don't think any one of us from Sri Lanka can afford going to that. So what we do is we get support from the GitHub, we get support from the original organizers and speakers, and then we create a small remote event in Sri Lanka. So that's an opportunity for everyone in Sri Lanka to experience this international stuff without even traveling to the US or some another country. So that's something. And next, we are inclusive and we don't discriminate. We don't really care about your race, your religion, your ethnicity. We don't care about any of those as long as you adhere to the code of conduct and you're being decent and you're acting nice. We are here to help. So all of these things, speaking at conferences, organizing events, and being inclusive, creating opportunities. So what do you get in return for this? Now, the most amazing part of this campus expert program is that you get support from a network of 250 plus campus experts across the world. You name a country and we have a campus expert there. And it's like, if you need some help from someone in another country, we have a Discord server, you just have to ping them and they're more than willing to help you. So wherever you go, you have friends and people who know you. So that's something. Next, we get exclusive trainings and early access to features and all these exclusive events from GitHub. Now, a couple of months back, we had a training on being inclusive for these non-binary genders, which is a trending topic these days. And a couple of weeks before they released GitHub Copilot, we had a separate an exclusive event for campus expert on how to use Copilot and how to do prompt engineering and all this stuff. And of course, even before the Copilot announcement, we had access to the Copilot beta. And even right now, my GitHub account has so many cool features, which I'm of course not at a liberty to talk. So if you become a campus expert, you will get early access to test these features and see how these things go. And also we have exclusive events for campus experts. And like a couple of months back, we had a campus expert summit here in Sri Lanka. And a couple of campus experts in Indonesia got a chance to have a lunch with Thomas Domke, the CEO of GitHub, and folks who flew to attend GitHub Universe this year. They got the chance to meet the Vice President of Developer Relations in GitHub. And there are so many perks and exclusive events just for the campus experts. And another amazing thing about the GC program is you get support for these events you organize or attend. So if you are doing a Git session, you can ask them for some stickers, some Git stickers, or maybe those printed markdown guides or anything. And if you're traveling to do that session or organizing the event, you get travel reimbursement, your Ubers, train tickets, bus tickets. And if you're flying abroad, you get your hotel covered and flight tickets covered. So while traveling to all these events and stuff, you get international recognition. So I don't think I can explain this very well, but when you become a campus expert, your social media will be flooded every day. People from all kinds of backgrounds from Sri Lanka, from other countries, and from far, from distance. You get so many messages asking for help and support for their communities. So like they know you're a campus expert, and everybody, pretty much everybody in the developer community knows who you are. So that's a very good thing, going abroad and everything. And last but not least, this is something I don't talk about very much, but one of the coolest perks of the entire program is swag. You can see as campus experts, you get very good and a generous onboarding package. It has so many stuff in it. And yeah, you get all these kinds of stickers, t-shirts, and everything. Even right now, I don't think you have seen this. So, okay, my fielder doesn't work, but yeah, that's a GitHub limited edition frisbee just for the campus experts. So, yeah. And one more important thing is when you're networking with many friends from different countries, we do a lot of catch-ups from time to time. So in this photo, you can see this is Harsh, he's from USA. This is Salim, he's from Nigeria, and Faika from India, and myself from Sri Lanka. You never know who you run across with. And most of the time, like you will end up talking to different kind of people and understanding their cultures. And that part is really cool and amazing. Should try that sometime. Okay, next slide, please. So I've been talking about all these cool perks and all this stuff. Now the question is, how should I become a campus expert? So lucky for you, the application round for the next intake just opened 2 days back. So the deadline is February 29th, and you can scan this QR code to access the application. So for the first round, you have a written application and it will have some questions to understand your community, what are your motivations and what you're planning to do in the future as a campus expert and everything. So when you get past that round, you will go into the second round, where you will be asked to submit a video. And that's something like a statement that you have to publish your plans as a campus expert, what you're exactly going to do and how you're going to utilize GitHub's resources to manage your local community. And if you get selected from that round, you will have a 6-week training and someone from the GitHub staff will guide you through the process. And you will have 6 modules. And each of these are around being inclusive, organizing events, public speaking, and everything. And once you're done with the training, you will have an interview with our community manager, this person, Juan Pa. So, and he will determine if you're a good suit for become campus expert and how your motivations are and everything. And once you're past that point, you are an officially campus expert. You get all the perks I just discussed. Yeah, so take some time and go ahead and apply to become a campus expert. If you need any help during the process, please text me on any social media platform. I prefer emails if you can do. So yeah, that's it. Hope to see some of you guys on board in the next couple of months. And thank you for having me. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Seems like we don't have any questions. So it's either you guys understood everything or you didn't understand anything. So I'm assuming it's for the best. You understood everything.
Guys, please feel free to engage with Sween and share your thoughts. And if you have any questions, you can drop them to the chat box.
Is it compulsory to have a university email to become a campus expert? Yes. You need to verify your campus email to have access to the GitHub student benefits. And once you get student benefits, then only you can apply to become a campus expert. So if you have troubles verifying your university email, what you can do is you can sign up with your regular email and then upload a photo of your student ID or maybe request a letter from the examinations department and they will issue you a letter verifying that you're a student. And all these two options works as well if you don't have a university email. Can someone who is new to GitHub also apply this? Yes, of course. So being a GitHub campus expert doesn't mean that you need to know Git or GitHub. It's something entirely different. So most of the time people think GitHub campus experts, they do talk about Git and GitHub and everything. It's not. You're free to do any and all kinds of stuff you like. It's not just about Git. So to become a campus expert, it's not necessary. Do we need to have a vast knowledge about GitHub in order to apply? Not at all. You don't need to know anything about Git and GitHub to apply. But having that knowledge is a good advantage. Can I know what kind of questions do you ask during the interview? Usually our community manager does the interview, so I don't really know what are the questions that are being asked these days. So I remember in my interview, they were asking about what were my motivations to apply for the program, and what are my immediate future plans right after getting into the program and things. I mean, you don't really need to be scared of this interview. It's like a very chill event. You will love it. Is GitHub only for UCSC students? No. So we have one campus expert from in every university. So if you have an existing campus expert in the UCSC, you won't be able to get in. And if you are from another university, you can apply for that as well. I think right now we don't have anyone in the UCSC. We had Yasid, but he's graduating soon, so there's a chance for one of you. No questions? Okay, seems that's it. So have a great night, guys. Over to you, Kasunji. Thanks for having me. Oh, okay. We have one more question. I am from Institute of Technology, University of Morotto. Is there anyone? No, at the moment we don't have anyone from University of Morotto. You can go ahead and apply.
So someone had directly messaged me asking what type of qualifications required roughly.
So having like strong abilities in public speaking and organizing things would help you a lot. But in general, like I said, we don't discriminate against any kind of people. So you are welcome to apply with what you have. And if you think your motivations are good and you have a strong background and you have the need to learn and do something for your community, we will definitely get you in. That doesn't matter.
Is there any more questions, guys? Or shall we move on? So thank you, Sween, for sharing your expertise and insights with us today. So we truly appreciate your valuable contribution to our event, and also please accept our token of appreciation.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Have a good night.
Good night. So next, I'm thrilled to introduce our second guest speaker, Sumaya Siad. Sumaya is a PhD candidate in CSC at Australian National University with a background as a software engineer and previous roles as IEEE WIE Vice Chair and Treasurer. She's affiliated with Huawei Seeds for the Future program. Sumaya will share her expertise with us. Over to you, Sumaya.
Hi guys, thanks Kasunde. Thank you for the introduction. Just a quick question. I hope I am audible. Yes?
Yes, you're audible.
Awesome. Okay. So this is kind of going to be a sad story, but for y'all, hopefully it would not. So I graduated in 2022, which means I was a part of the Huawei Seats for the Future contingent in 2020. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Yes, so 2020, unfortunately, was exactly the year that COVID hit. And as we all know, Huawei, which is known to be a very well reputed tech giant, at least in the Asian part of the world, is also based in China, with its headquarters right in the capital. So as a result of which, usually this scholarship includes a fully sponsored trip to China. But unfortunately, with COVID, our experience was quite a bit different. So let me first tell you what our experience was like, and after that, let me tell you what your experience would be like if you apply this year and hereafter, hopefully, wishing that something like COVID does not happen again. So can we move on to the next slide, please? All right. So the Huawei Seats for the Future Scholarship Program is actually about a week and a half long, 10 working days roughly. And what happens is Huawei, the affiliated organization in Sri Lanka, would send out notifications to universities directly, asking for potential candidates to participate in this program. What this program entails is basically, it actually has two parts, one sort of academic and one sort of cultural and the fun stuff. So the academic part, basically, you would be expected to follow a few short modules or courses that would take you to the latest technologies that Huawei is working on. Back in 2020, this was when 5G was the hype, and we were taken through how 5G works, the requirements, and whatnot. So we had to go through a course that would, we had to complete a course, if I'm not mistaken, it had about 6 to 7 technical modules. And there was one cultural module where we're taken through the Chinese culture, the food, the language, and so on and so forth. And following which you graduate, you actually graduate, you get a certificate issued by Huawei, saying, you know, this particular individual, this particular candidate has gone through this program and has graduated it doesn't specify a grade, but they make sure that you pass the exams at the end of every module. So unfortunately, like I told you before, we were part of the COVID contingent, so we were not able to visit China, sadly. But instead, what happened was our entire program was virtual. We still had to take on the modules. We still had to participate in the interactive cultural sessions with the people, with representatives from China. And we still went through the same time frame as it was done in China, with people from around the world participating throughout the same sessions at the same time. And afterwards, we also had a graduation ceremony, which was one substitute Huawei MatePad Pro, which was then their iconic tablet, which I still use to watch movies. So yeah, it was something. But for y'all, what happens is, if we can move on to the next slide. Yes, what happens is, since I think Suveen's batch did not get to go either. Suveen, are you still on the call? Yes, Shiti, do you know? I think your batch did not get to go either. We didn't, the batch before us went, we did not get to go. The batch after us was also affected by COVID, but thereafter, I think 2022 onwards, they started taking the applicants back to China on the fully funded tour, where you all get to spend about 2 weeks in China, take part in the very same modules, but you get to do it in person. You get to visit all the multicultural festivals, interact with the people there, and, you know, like get actual hands-on experience, the technologies they use and whatnot. However, unfortunately, up until COVID, the number of people that they took on this scholarship was quite large. But since COVID, as of what I know, the numbers have cut down. But either way, let me tell you how we apply for this. Can we move to the next slide? Okay, so what happens is, like I said, Huawei Sri Lanka would send out notifications to the universities, and the universities would more often than not inform their students about the program, and if they want to apply, they could forward their CV to it. So we did not have a separate interview, but we had forwarded our CVs and they checked both our academic and extracurricular backgrounds. But in UCSC specifically, what happens is UCSC picks the candidates to be nominated. So how this happens is, up until our year, what happened was they used to pick 2 candidates from the 3rd year IS batch and 2 candidates from the 3rd year CS batch. So this happens in December every year. So this is towards as soon as you finish your 3rd year during your internship semester, you get, if they pick the candidates from the batch and they would inform the candidates to send in their applications. So how UCSC picks this is they would categorize or rank the students based on their academic and extracurricular performance and then pick. Whereas for other universities, I think we have participants from other universities as well. You all have the opportunity to forward your CVs, at least most of the universities. But if you all want to cross-check whether how this works, you all can also write to your admin and ask, specify the name of the scholarship and ask them how the application process works. But unfortunately, this happens in December, so you all have a whole of another 10 to 11 months to go. But either way, nothing to lose, so you all can check anyway. So yeah, that's it for the Huawei Seats for the Future scholarship program. Any questions? I hope I was clear. Do we have any questions?
Guys, you can drop your questions to the chat box. Please take this opportunity to delve deeper into the subject matter.
Okay, if not, what I'll do is I unfortunately won't be able to stay in for the rest of the session because it's 12:15 in the morning. What I'll do is I'm going to drop my work email on the chat. If you have any questions regarding the Huawei Seats for the Future program scholarship or anything that you'll see on my LinkedIn profile, you can just send me an email and I will get back to you by the weekend latest. And wishing all of you all the very best of luck and good luck and enjoy participating in Hackaholics as well. Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you, Kasundi. Over to you.
Thank you, Sumaya, for sharing your insights and experiences with us. Your contributions have added immense value to our session, so please accept our token of appreciation.
Thanks, Kasundi. Have a good night.
Good night. So our final guest speaker of the day is Yashiti Dharmavimala, a software engineer at Millennium IT ESP. Yashiti is a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. She has been recognized with scholarships, including Cornell, Max Planck, Maryland Pre-Doctoral Research School Scholarship, and the Grace Hopper Celebration Scholarship. Yashiti was the former president of Comstock University of Colombo, and also actively involved with the UCSC ISACA student group, where she served as content manager and executive committee member. Yashiti will now share insights and various scholarship opportunities. Over to you, Yashiti.
Right. Thank you, Kasundi, for that generous introduction. And thank you, WIE, for having me here. So first, let's talk about the Cornell, Maryland, Max Planck Pre-Doctoral Research School. Right. So to break it down, there are 3 universities. I hope you all know this in USA, and then the Max Planck Institute, which is in Germany. So for this scholarship, if you get the scholarship, you'd get to go to Max Planck, which is in Germany, right? And it's sort of like a 1-week program in which you get your travel paid, food, lodging, everything is paid. So it's basically like a free trip to Europe. So first, can we go to the next slide? Yeah, so before we delve into the details of the application and things, I sort of want to talk to you all about the experience of this whole thing, because I feel like CMMRS is something very underrated within the university context, right? So first, getting into the academic part of it all, basically it would be like 4 days of lectures, basically like a university day. And in these lectures, you'd get to sort of go through emerging trends in computer science. And these lectures are done by really distinguished lecturers from 3 of these universities. So you get to learn from the best of the best. And for me, I think this was a highlight because being in a degree program, you get to only experience a certain, let's say, a gist of things, right? But when you sort of go into programs like this, you get to experience a lot more academic knowledge, and you get to sort of widen your knowledge base as overall perk from this. So I think that would be a highlight if you get into CMMRs. And also for those who are looking to do higher studies, so something like a PhD or a master's, this is also a good place to start, because you get to know the different avenues in which you can take, the different areas in CS, because it's like really broad. And also for PhD applicants, you get to know how to apply for PhDs and how to write things like statement of purposes, and how can you do your poster presentations and all that. So we also got to go to poster presentations done by the PhD students of Max Planck itself. So this was a great opportunity in terms of academics as well. But in terms of, fun and stuff, this is also one of the best experiences I have to say I have gotten, because so lectures would end roughly at about 5. And in Germany, you don't have sort of like a cutoff. You can stay till morning. So what we did was, after lectures every day for this entire week, we didn't sleep. We were up the entire night. So next slide, you can see we went to different countries. Even we went to Paris, we went to some cross different borders to France. It was a crazy experience because the entire night you were up, you were going places. So if you are the kind of person who wants to learn and also want to have fun, this is definitely something I think you should apply to. So now let's get into the process of the application in itself. So next slide. Yes. So what you need basically to apply would first be to fill the application, which is obviously a given. Second, you need academic CV. Actually, you just need a CV, but I think it would be preferred if you could have an academic CV. I'll talk about this in a little bit. And then a statement of purpose and academic references with a letter. And also something that I forgot to mention over here was you need to have a transcript as well. So if we talk about each of these one by one, so can we go to the next slide? So the application looks something like this. You can see it's quite basic. You just have to fill in your contact information, your university information, and obviously you're not doing masters or things, so y'all can leave that part blank, and then references. And then, so that's basically the application, nothing big, just to fill a couple of details. So next slide, please. Second one, I said you can put a resume or a CV. I prefer to put an academic CV, and I think everyone who got selected before me also did an academic CV. So what an academic CV is, it's not something that you submit for, let's say, your internships or your job applications. It's something that is sort of made without any of your project experience, things like that, no pictures, just heavily academic focused. So this is one academic CV that I have, so I just put it as a template so you guys know what it looks like. So I think we have a question in the chat. Can I know where I can get application? Yes. So I was going to put this at the end, but I'll just put it right now. This is the website. When you go there, you can see, there's a link saying apply here, and then you can view the application that I just showed you guys. And it's like an auto-saving application, so you can fill just your name for now and just look through the application and then come back to it in a later date. So that's like completely up to you. It gets auto-saved and all this. So next slide. Yeah, this I think is quite important because this is where they sort of measure how enthusiastic you are to get this scholarship. So like I said, it was a free trip to Europe, which means they are spending a lot on you. So they need to know how interested you are and how well you would use this opportunity to develop yourself. So things I would say to include in a statement of purpose would be, what drew you to CS research? So basically, this entire thing is about computer science research trends, right? So you have to put in the factor where you say that you would really like to do research and what drew you to CS research, right? And if you have done projects, that would be a great plus point. So I applied in my 4th year. So we were in between. So we just started research. So I included a whole chunk of what I was doing, how I was doing it, and things like that. So if you are in your 3rd year or 4th year, you might have a little bit of research experience. So if you do, you can definitely include that. It's a great plus point. And anyone who stayed back in UCSC for your research internship, you can write about that. Again, huge plus point. So basically, in your statement of purpose, what you have to do is describe your academic story, right? So I got this, I did this because I like that. You know, you can talk about your entire story in terms of academics, right? So say, for instance, you got a bad grade somewhere. You can even mention that in your story. For instance, say you got a bad grade for one subject because you were doing lots of extracurricular activities. You can write that. You know, it's just you need to paint a picture that makes you highlight that you can do sort of everything: academics, extracurriculars, and balanced life, all of that. So if you can sort of put all of those details into your statement of purpose, I think you're good to go. And also, another crucial thing that most people miss is future goals. So you have to mention, how would CMMRS help you personally, to reach your future goals? So back in the day, I said I wanted to do a PhD, and this would help me sort of, decide what side I'm going to, which university I'm going to select to, blah, blah. So something like that. And it doesn't have to be a PhD or higher studies. If you want to go to the industry, that's completely fine too. So you can write about why this experience would help you in the industry. Say you're going to do like industrial research in a company or something, or you want to be just a software engineer, that's fine. You have to say, okay, this lecture done by this thing would help me for my software engineering career, blah, blah, blah. So you sort of, paint this picture which shows that you are really enthusiastic and that you deserve this opportunity, right? So that's the statement of purpose. Basically, they're looking if you're a waste of time or that you'll actually benefit from this program. So make sure when you're writing a statement of purpose to include all of that. And for me, when I was applying, I reached out to those who already got the scholarship before me. So I don't know if you guys know, she was a previous lecturer at our university, so Miss Dunisha and also Tarushiaki. So I reached out to both of them. Miss Dunisha gave her statement of purpose like that. So I read that, took everybody's tips, and then made my own. So if you are also interested in applying, which I highly recommend, try to talk to those who got it before you, and try to incorporate their advice into your statement of purpose, and also get it proofread. This is so important. If there is some faculty member that you really talk to, say a supervisor, you can send it to him or her and get it proof checked, proofread and things like that. So focus on your statement of purpose, take a lots of time and make it bulletproof. So next slide, please. Yes, a little bit of a manipulation technique or tip, if you will, is to go to this site that I gave you in the chat, right? Then they have lectures and lecturer biographies. So they have not put it yet, but they will put it, sort of publish it close to the application date. At least one professor will be there, right? So then you have to incorporate that professor's name in your statement of purpose and say, I want to learn under this person, and go to his Google Scholar or his, university profile or whatever, and get his details and say, I want to learn under him for XYZ reasons. So another secret tip about this program is that all the lecturers, not all, but most of these lecturers who come and teach you at CMMRS are also looking for PhD students. So that's a tip that I learned during the program. So this tip, sort of, if you mention a name or two, it would help you because they would think, okay, maybe he or she is interested in doing a PhD under this person, so they will take you in. So something like that, small manipulation trick. Just remember, this is a very, very competitive application process. So take your time, do your research, and submit your best application. Right, next slide. Finally, names of references. So basically, one reference is mandatory and one reference is optional. But again, coming from me, I think if you can find 2 faculty advisors to vouch for you, it's great, because 1 is always better than 2 is always better than 1, right? So if you can have 2 people, that would be great. And make sure you let them know, because they have to submit a letter. So how this happens is you would just mention their name, their designation, I think, and their email address. So CMMRS would email them directly and get the letter. So you have to let your faculty advisor know, hi, I applied for this. Can I put you down as reference? And if so, you'd have to provide a letter. And when you ask them to provide a letter, make sure it's a very strong letter. So you can tell, hi, sir, so, would it be possible to give me a really strong reference letter for this? Make sure you get a strong reference from their side as well, because that could really help. Yes, and most of the lecturers would tell you to write it by yourself. So in that case, win-win. But anyway, just let your lecturer know, okay, I'm applying for this. Can you write me a strong reference letter? And they would do it for you. And then the other thing that I forgot to mention was the transcript, so that you can get from your university. And basically, that is the application process. Yes. Next slide. Right. So that concludes the CMMRS program. And if y'all have any questions, y'all can drop in the chat while this is happening, so I can let you guys know answers to your questions. Right. So the next scholarship is going to be the Grace Hopper Celebration Scholarship. And I'm just going to read the eligibility, which they have mentioned in itself. So I just copy pasted it so we can go through it together. So first, you need to be enrolled in an accredited degree program, which is a given because y'all are all registered to some university. And then you have to show satisfactory progress towards a degree, such as, but not limited to, computer science, software engineering, electrical engineering, HCI, math, physics, or management information systems. So ISCS, you can all apply for this. And what they mean by satisfactory progress is you sort of have to show that you are good in your academics. That's what they mean by that. Next one is you must be at least 18 years of age by September 26th. This is for the 2023, so 2024 would be a little bit different. And this is obviously would be fulfilled thanks to the Sri Lankan university system, and then a minimum cumulative GPA of 2.5. So hopefully if you have that, you can definitely apply for this. How long is this scholarship and when will it start? CMMRs. Okay, good. So if you would go to the link that I sent, hold on. Okay, so this year, the program is from July 28th to August 5th, right? And the application deadline is on the 25th of February. So if you are planning to apply, you better start from today onwards. And again, the program is from July 28th to August 4th. So I'll just put that down in the chat. Hope that answered your question. It's basically like a 1-week program. It's a very short program. And it's in Germany. When will it start? Yeah, I hope that answered your question. Sure. So going back to eligibility, so I'm pretty sure most of you guys have this, so y'all are eligible to apply to this program. Okay, next slide. Right, what will you get? So something really, really sad happened, like Sumeyaki. So from our year onwards, GHC became online, right? So when COVID hit, the entire system just went bonkers. So they had to do GHC online. And what happened after that is now GHC is still happening in America like a normal conference, but all those who get the scholarship still only get tickets to the virtual conference. So that's a very, very sad circumstance, because those days before our year, everybody got to go to USA and sort of interact with everything that was given by GHC. But from our year downwards, it's completely a virtual experience. But still, this conference is absolutely great because so one, there are lots of sessions, technical sessions, in which you get to know a lot of knowledge, like technical based knowledge, right? And also you can book one-on-one slots with giants in the tech industry. So you can book slots with Google, Facebook, Netflix, Spotify, you name it. All the top companies are going to be there. It's sort of like a virtual career fair, but not really career fair. If you're like sort of applying for jobs, then you can talk about that. But if you just want advice in general, you can talk to that as you can talk to them as well. So basically, you can sort of book your slots with them. I think it's about, you get about 1 hour with each company. I mean, if you want to go for it. And you get to talk to an employee or like a head from Google or Facebook, again, one of the top industry experts. And which is really cool in my perspective, because all your questions would get answered. And, and if you're looking for a job, there are plenty of people who got jobs from GHC, especially if you want virtual internships and things like that. This is a great opportunity. So other than the GHC conference in itself, you get premium Anita B membership for 1 year. So Anita B is basically an organization for women technologists, right? And they would do sessions and workshops, KTs throughout the entire year. So you get to go for any of it. You get free access, or else you have to pay. But if you have this scholarship, you can go for any of it. Again, there are mentorship programs which you can easily get into if you are a GHC, which is also given by Antabog. So you can apply to those. Apply meaning just register for those, and you can get into them as well. You also get access to academic and technical events and resources. So like I said, there are lots of technical events that happen virtually. So you get to connect with a lot of people from a lot of industries and different areas in CS. So that is a definite given in GHC. And also there's this huge community of like fellow women and non-binary technologists. Sorry, when I said Antabog, I said women technologists. Now it's women and non-binary technologists. So there's this beautiful community in which you can connect to with anybody at any given time. So all of these things are something that you get from the GHC scholarship. Right, next question. Okay, we have a question from Walsma. Actually, I am a university first year student. Can I apply to this? I'm assuming GHC. Yes, you can apply to GHC. Definitely. Any year, I applied in my second year because I know that in my first year. So that's fine. As long as you are in a university, like you're in accredited university, it should be fine. CMMRS, you can apply in your first year, but if I'm going to tell you the absolute truth, it would be hard to get in because they would be looking at your academic transcripts and things like that. So the more years you have, the more points you will collect, right? So CMMRS, if you want to apply in your second year, please go for it. I am not saying no, but I don't know anybody who got in from their second year or third year. So everybody I know got in from their fourth year. So if you have a little bit of research experience for CMMRS, that's good. But for GHC, any year is fine. It's Rajarat University of Sri Lanka. That's fine. Any university is absolutely fine as long as you are studying under it. So that's absolutely no problem. Hope that answers your question. So now let's go over the application process. Once again, that's a very simple application. Just fill in your basic details and things like that. Now, this is where the important part comes in, is the essay questions, right? In our year, these are the only 2 essay questions that we had to fill. Unfortunately, I don't know what the process is like now. I hope it's the same. But these are the questions that we got. Question 1, tell us why you want to attend GHC. What type of impact will being at the conference focused on women in computing have on you? So 2 important things. Again, like CMMRS, you have to show that you are really enthusiastic about this. What will you gain? Blah, blah, blah. Make it believable. Make sure that they know you will benefit from this program, right? And also you have to focus on the keyword here, which is women in computing. So I would say go in that angle, like as a woman or non-binary person in computing, I would gain XYZ. So always lead in that angle, because Anita Borg in itself, this organization is catered to women and non-binary technologists. So make sure that you approach this question in that angle. Second one, how will you share your experience at GHC with others? What type of impact will your experience at GHC have on others in your community? This is a very good question in which you can very lightly boast. So you can say, if you are sort of doing other extracurricular activities, right? You can say, okay, I'm a XYZ in ABC club. I do this, I do workshops, blah, blah. If I get to go to GHC, I can do sessions on this. I can teach people. I can write blah, blah, blah. How will you share your experience is the question, but make sure you answer it while showing who you are and what you can do. So for instance, let's take with Pilani. So she's the WIE chairperson, right? She could say, okay, I'm the chairperson of WIE, so I get to organize a lot of things like this. So I can organize a session on GHC and things that I learned, blah, blah. So something like that, right? You don't have to have a position for this. I was just taking an example. But basically, how would you share your experience? With that, try to incorporate your strengths, and if you have any positions or things like that. Once again, I'm gonna say the same thing for this as well. Get your answers proofread by somebody who is capable of writing successfully for these questions, because that's quite important. Because when people start writing, they write, they don't really go in the direction that these questions are targeting. So it's always good to proof check with somebody else. And then again, CV. For this, if I can remember right, I submitted the CV that I submitted for like jobs and stuff. So it doesn't really have to be an academic CV, but if you have an academic CV, please go for it. And then transcripts. So this is where you're it was just one faculty advisor in our time. I don't know how it is now. But again, same thing. Faculty advisor has to give a letter. So make sure you let your faculty advisor know that you're putting him down as a resume recommendation, and you would like for him to write a strong recommendation letter for you. So I think that's about it for GHC. Shall we go to the next slide? Yep, that's about it. So once again, if you have any questions, you can ask that in the chat. Next, we have Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. So this is not really a scholarship. This is more like a program like what GitHub Campus Expert was, sort of like a program. Yeah, ambassadorship, if you will. So let's go to the next slide. Once again, let's quickly go through the eligibility. So one, you need to be over 16 years, which is a given. Full-time enrollment in an academic institution, university, given. Applications are restricted to individual persons, again, given. And then finally, individuals who are Microsoft employees or current contractors are ineligible to apply. So I think most of us are eligible for this program. Okay, next one. Next slide. Yeah. So what will you get from this experience? So basically, if you're a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, you get a lot of things, including Microsoft 365, the Office suite, you get all of it. You get Microsoft Learn account in which you can take up as many courses as you want and as many certificates as you want. You get LinkedIn Premium and LinkedIn Learning, both. You also get Visual Studio Enterprise, again, everything for free. You get $150 of Azure credit and other Microsoft products as well. I'm not sure if it's 150 now, but it was 150 during our time. And this is what we would use to sort of host our websites for, second year, third year group projects. So, everything has its benefits. Then you get to go to any seminars, workshops, and, sort of knowledge sharing sessions that are done by Microsoft employees or MLSs. And there is this incredible community, right? So the best part about MLSA, I think, would be the community, because you get to connect with so many people from a technical background. And if you do things well, you would get invitations to sort of do workshops for other universities in other countries. So the opportunities, if you do this right, is a lot. And last but not least, you get said incorporate little bits of your personality, little bits of your academic adventure, sort of academic, experience in in the written samples, and make sure that you include your links so that they would know that you can do something to the community. Right. We have another question. Is there a specific topic that we need to write articles on? Absolutely not. Anything technical would do. So yeah, anything technical, whatever you learned in university is completely fine. Whatever you like, yeah, any blog which is even remotely relevant to tech would be a good to go. Right. Next slide. Okay, so basically that's all about Microsoft Learn Student Ambassadors. There's a lot in the University of Colombo, so if you can reach out to these guys as well, that would be great. But yeah, now let's move on to the final scholarship of the day, which is ScholarX. So ScholarX is mostly a local thing. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah, so it's a 6-month mentoring program. So what happens is, when you're filling up your application, you get to select mentors that you would like to work with, and based on the marks that you get from the application and the first come first serve basis thing, you would get assigned to some mentor, and you get to get mentoring from that mentor for a period of 6 months. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, during our time, it was 1 meeting per week or bi-weekly. I'm not sure. I'm sorry about that. But basically, you can get mentoring from an industry expert or an academic individual, right? So you can talk about anything you want. If you're like academic focused, then you can take an academic person. If you want to learn about machine learning, for instance, then you can select a person who has done machine learning and you can ask them how to go forward, things like that. There are your mentor would create sort of like goals for you to achieve. So if it's like an academic thing, they would ask you to write different academic articles, like let's say, I think I got to write a literature review or something like that. Or if you're going in, say, the industrial perspective, then if you're saying you're doing machine learning, then they would tell you courses to do or things like that. So basically, it's a personalized track that you get to do with your mentor. Is it possible to apply Scholar X second time once you completed for 6 months? Absolutely, you can. As far as I know, you can do that. Again, I'm not sure if you can do it now, but in our time, you can do it. Here's the thing, so just apply and see, because there's absolutely nothing to lose when it comes to scholarships, and I think you mostly can, as far as I know. Right, next slide. Once again, the application is a simple form-based application with, I think, a couple of essay questions. Again, I can't remember the questions, and now there is no application on the site at this advice that I gave for CMMRS and GHC. Just make sure you write your story and show them that you're capable. And then a CV, once again, it doesn't have to be an academic CV. It can be any type of CV. That's completely fine. So this application process is quite simple, I would say, as opposed to CMRS, GHC, less competitive as well. Yeah. So I think if you could apply, that would be great, because who doesn't like free mentorship, right? I think that's the end, right? Is there another slide? Can we go to the next slide? Oh, okay. So that's one more. So I just said this. So what's in it for you? Basically, free mentoring by academic and industry experts. So whoever you pick from the list of experts that there are would be your mentor, and you get to get free mentorship for 6 months, which is absolutely great. Yes, and that concludes all 4 of the scholarships that I spoke about. So if there's any more questions, I would like to take them now. Is it possible to drop the scholarships? Huh? Varsha, would it be possible if you could, Varsha, I think, sorry. Would it be possible to elaborate on the question? Is it possible to drop the scholarships? Websites discussed. Oh, okay, sorry. Websites, sure. So I dropped the CMMRS one. I'll drop the MLSA one. I'll drop the CMMRS one just in case y'all missed it. So GHC is not yet opened. So there is no site for that. I'll just sort of give you the Anita B site. So y'all can go to that and see as well. And what is the other one? ScholarX. ScholarX also didn't have anything open at the moment. So I'll give you the CEF global site, so you can constantly go to that and look. So they haven't even published their timelines. Usually they do, ScholarX. But this time the timeline is still up for 2023. So you'll have to sort of keep an eye on that. Okay. When do they normally open GHC and ScholarX? So ScholarX for 2023, the student application period started in April. So I'm assuming for this time it would be the same. There is, I think, a LinkedIn page for CEF Global. So if you can follow that, they would definitely put posts. Sure thing. And what was the other thing? GHC. Okay, GHC has not even mentioned their current conference date, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see, 2024. Nope. So no information is put, unfortunately. GHC, sort of the dates differ from year to year. So unfortunately for that, you'll have to keep an eye on it. I think the best way to go is follow their IG page or something. They would put posts when the student application is up. And also, so this is what I was talking about is the direct scholarship from Anita Borg. But I think Google and Facebook is also giving scholarships, which is to go to America in itself, not just the registration, the virtual registration, which Anita Borg is giving. So if you can do some light Googling on that and see what the eligibility criteria and if you can apply, I think that would be good if you really want to take part in GHC in the country in itself. Can you again brief about reflection on GHC in terms of purpose and the timeline? Okay. So GHC is basically a conference, right? In my year, it was about 5 days long conference, I think. Honestly, I can't remember the details, but it's a conference that lasts a couple of days. Basically, there is both academic and industrial sessions, which you have to, I mean, they're not mandatory, but you can go for all of it. And then during one day, you have this entire day in which you can schedule one-on-one meetings with whoever you want, right? So once you get in, you get this site in which you can apply, not apply, mostly like register for these one-on-one sessions, like I said, Google, Facebook, things like that. So then you get 1 day of mentoring. And again, it's back to like conference type things. So workshops, talks, things like that, right? In terms of purpose. So again, it's mostly a learning experience, right? And you can also connect with people, like I said, the mentoring program, basically. And the timeline. Good question. Okay. All right, it's up, guys. So October 8th to 11th. So this is the timeline of GHC. It's in Philadelphia this time. So like I said, if you can look into the Google and Facebook scholarships that they're giving and get one of those, if you can secure one of those, then you can fly to Philadelphia. If not, it's virtual, if you get that above one. So the timeline is that applications would probably, I think, start in, I'm going to say August. GHC means Grace Hopper Program. Yes. Grace Hopper Celebration Conference. So I'm just going to drop the site once again so that you can see. Do we have any questions? Are all these for undergraduates? Can I apply after graduation? So I discussed something called eligibility criteria. For CMMRS, you have to be in a university, yes. So either it could be undergraduate, it can be master's as well for CMMRS. For GHC, it's again undergraduate and master's, I think. But anyway, you have to be in a university. You have to be enrolled in a university program. And what were the rest? Scholar X only for undergraduates, like not even masters, just undergraduates. MLSA, yes, again, university. So MLSA would tell you to specify graduation date as well. And the minute your graduation day hits, your program is done. So basically for undergraduates. Unless, of course, you're in a master's program, then you can apply for some of it.
So some delegates have asked information regarding the fully funded scholarships available specifically available to SC students, and also research-based scholarships and study abroad opportunities with scholarships. So do you have any idea regarding?
Exclusively for SC?
Yeah.
No. No. So all of these are basically for anything that is related to CS. So if you're an SC student, you can still apply for these. But exclusively for SC? No. What was the second part of the question, Kasundi?
So they're asking whether there are any research-based scholarships and study abroad opportunities with scholarships.
Study abroad. Okay, so study abroad. I would say that you're looking at sort of like master's or PhD.
Should be, I guess.
Should be, right? Okay, I think Sumeyaki would have been perfect for this question, but yeah, there are scholarships. So CMMRS basically is a pre-doctoral research school where you come before a PhD and they would teach you how to get a PhD. Masters, getting a scholarship for masters, from what I have heard, because I have not applied or anything, is kind of tricky. Because fully funded scholarship for masters abroad is very rare. So that's a little bit of a roadblock. But when it comes to PhDs, it's more easier to get than a master's if you have a 3.7 and above GPA from your current university. So if you want to, I'll just brief about the PhD thing. There are 3 ways in you can go about this. There are more than 3, but basically 3, right? So you can either go to USA, you can either go to Europe, or you can go to somewhere like Australia or New Zealand. So Australia and New Zealand, these scholarships are basically 3 years, and you can continue it for 3.5 years, but that half a year you'll have to pay for it. So that's the Aussie part of it all. Europe and USA, so those countries, their PhD is about 5 years. So the minimum is 5 years, but if you don't complete it within 5 years, it can go on and on. Like I just spoke to a lecturer recently, and he said a student of his did his PhD for 10 years in USA. So it's basically sort of up to you. But other than that, I'm not entirely sure what you mean by study abroad scholarship. So I think you're talking about masters and PhDs. So if you want to sort of know more about PhDs, I think there's a lot of alumni who has gone from UCSC or whatever your university is. So it's best to contact them and ask how they would go about it. So from what I know, USA, you just have to fill in applications. Again, with a personal statement, there's not much to do in USA PhD programs, application-wise, right? Just a personal statement. You don't even have to know what area you're going for. For example, Cornell. So I got a opportunity, but I couldn't go for it due to personal reasons. But there you can sort of not specify which research interests you want to pursue. You can just go into the program 1 year, they let you do every subject and then decide. So that's an amazing thing in the part of US. But when it comes to Aussie and New Zealand, you have to reach out to supervisors. So that application process is completely different. That you don't fill an application first. That you go stalk professors on their websites and then reach out to them via email. Say, okay, I'm XYZ from University of Colombo or whatever your university is. And you have to attach your CV, transcripts, and things like that. And if they like you, they will reply to you and then ask you to submit a research proposal. And then again, that professor would decide if this research proposal is of quality, and then only they will put you to the application round of it all. So Aussie is a bit more not that straightforward, but USA side of it, quite straightforward to apply to. And most of them do get it as well.
Also, do you know anyone who has got into, who has received a fully funded scholarship, but who has not received over 3.7 GPA, for completing 4 years?
for PhDs?
Yeah.
Do I know it? I am sorry to burst your bubbles, but unfortunately, I have not. Because if you want to go directly to a PhD program, you have to have a first class. That's sort of like the basis of it all. But that doesn't mean you can't do a PhD or get a scholarship, but you'll have to do a master's, a research-based master's here first, and then apply for PhD, then you can go. But it's not as straightforward as if you get a first class.
Yeah. Are there
Sure.
any more questions? If so, you can drop into the chat box.
What is the difference between research PhDs, Europe, USA? I have heard that without some. Yeah. Okay, so this is a good question. I've been doing some reading about this and talking about this as well. So from what I have learned, so like I said, it's basically about the time difference, right? So USA, Europe, they're 5 years. So you don't have a big pressure on you to get something done. So what I heard, especially from our faculty, was the first year you get to just decide on a research gap. First year, first 2 years, you get to decide on research gap, and then you will be doing the entire thesis of it all, right? But in Aussie, I'll take Aussie and New Zealand as Aussie, right? So in Aussie, what happens is it's 3 years, strictly 3 years. You apply with a gap. You already have a research gap, and you just have to go, like do the research. There is nothing else that you can do. I actually happened to talk to a couple of professors in Aussie, and what they said was, I asked if we can take subjects. So they said no. So subjects is not something they encourage doing, because there's only 3 years for the entire PhD, and which means it's kind of a sort of like a strict time limit, which means you can't give your attention to learn subject materials. They're offering it, but they don't recommend you taking it, right? Whereas Europe, USA, they would say, okay, you have to do these subjects, or you can do these subjects. And in fact, they would like sort of recommend it as well. So that's what I know about Europe and USA. And that's basically because of the time difference, because 5 years doing a research and doing learning things is doable. Whereas in 3 years, I mean, you get the logic, right? You have to commit to your PhD. You have to, and especially in Aussie and New Zealand, it's paper-based research. So your thesis isn't the thesis that we would write for undergraduate. It's not like, introduction, problem this thing, problem that thing, and then solution, conclusion. It's not like that. It's paper-based. So your entire thesis consists of papers that you have published during your PhD. So literature review, first paper. Second paper would be the first innovation unit. Second paper, it's like that. Thesis is a bunch of papers. So if you're doing that much of work, you can't really take up subject material, but they're offering it. It's hard to take it. That's what this thing is. But you can get teaching assistant jobs, and those things they freely give you to do, right? What was is it Cornell? Yes, it's Cornell. Cornell and Maryland were the US-based universities that were at CMMRS. So that's how the connection happened. Yeah. So like I said, who comes for the CMMRS is the professors who want research PhD students. And if they sort of like someone, they would talk to you then and there, or they would talk to you if you talk to them back, right? So yeah. Any more questions? So unless I'm completing through a scholarship, is it difficult to complete? No. Is it while doing part-time? No. So don't get it twisted. You can do part-time. You can be a teaching assistant. In fact, they would give you teaching assistant if you like it. So you can do part-time. That's fine, as long as you manage your time, right? So I wish Sumaya was here. She would have spoken about this much better than I do. Any universities you recommend from USA that are easy to get? Okay. There is nothing that is, I would say, easy. But okay, if you do your research a little bit, you will find that there are different tiers of universities, right? There is, what do you call them? Ivy League universities. So Harvard and things like that. Those are typically very, very hard to get into. MIT, Harvard, Cornell, blah, blah. They are really hard to get into, and you have to be that of a level to get into it. And it's also very, very, it's based on your luck, right? And then there's the second layer of universities, which is not that easy, but not that hard and very well reputed. So that you, okay, so I'll put this link, CS rankings, right? This is the site you would go to see what universities have the best rankings in terms of CS research, right? So go to this, sort of read about the universities and see. But there is, to answer your question, there is nothing called easy. A PhD, getting a PhD is quite challenging. There is no easy university to apply to. It's based on your luck and how much you have done in your academic journey throughout the 4 years. That would get you a PhD. So apply to everything, and then somewhere you'll land with something. Any more questions?
Guys, are there any more questions? Or can we move on to the next part of the session? So yeah, seems like there's no any questions.
Right.
So
So if you're planning on applying for any of it and y'all want to sort of like get your things to proofread and stuff like that, you can always reach out to me via LinkedIn or email, or I think most of you have my number as well. So you can talk to me directly or whatever way. So like right now also I got SOP from a person, complete foreigner who is applying for CMMR. So if you want to get anything proofread, I would be happy to do it. Yeah. Thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
yeah, thank you, Yashiti, for your informative session and for inspiring us with your experiences. So your insights have been truly valuable to us. So please accept our token of appreciation. So here, following the hackathon introduction, now we have a quiz prepared for all of you. So after this quiz, we are excited to introduce Hackaholics 6.0, a girls-only hackathon. So stay tuned as we unveil this exciting opportunity for all aspiring girl developers and innovators. So now let's get ready to participate and challenge yourselves. So now Mudira has dropped the quiz link to the chat box. You can open it from the chat box. Guys, y'all can join the quiz via the link which is on the chat box. I think there are somewhere around 31 people on the quiz right now. I hope others are still joining. So, yeah, let's wait for them. So, when we hit 35, let's start this quiz. So I think there are around 34 people out there in the quiz. So seems like that's all. So shall we start the quiz? Yes. So yeah, now we're gonna start the quiz. Here we go. So what does IEEE stand for? Five seconds more, 3 seconds more. So I think it's Ramidu. It's Ramidu who is the first, like on the top of the leaderboard. So the answer is Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. So we are getting into the next question. So what protocol is used for secure communication over a computer network? Five seconds more, guys. I think it's again Ramidu. So the answer is SSH. So in which year was IEEE founded? Three seconds more. It's 1884. The answer is 1884. So shall we move on to the next question? So which data structure follows the last in, first out, LIFO principle? A pretty easy question, I guess. So it's stuck. Moving on to the next question. What does the acronym SQL stand for? So it's Shashini on the top of the leaderboard. So it's structured query language. So which of the following is not an entity of IEEE? Three seconds more. So it's Ramidu again. So the answer is IEEE Gaming and Entertainment Council. So which technology is commonly used as an automatic speech recognition system, converting spoken words into text? So once again, Ramidu on the leaderboard. So the answer is Whisper. Is Node.js primarily a So the answer is a runtime environment. So who is one of the co-founders of Google? Oh, so the answer is Larry Page. So which programming language is most commonly used for AI development? So the answer is Python. So Ramidu is first on the leaderboard, and it's P who got the second, and with a score of 80%, and score is 6,210, and its third one is Bhagya, I guess, with a score of 5,960. So congratulations, guys, and thank you so much for everyone who participated in the quiz. So I think now we can move on to the hackathon introduction. So now let's welcome Mudira and Nirasha, who will introduce Hackaholics 6.0. Mudira and Nirasha will provide you with all the necessary details to participate and excel in Hackaholics 6.0. So over to you, Mudira and Nirasha.
Yes, hi everyone. I hope I'm audible as well as visible. Okay. So talking about Hackaholics 6.0, before moving on, I'm Mudira from the organizing committee of Hackaholics 6.0. And with me, I have Nirasha as well from the organizing committee. So talking about Hackaholics 6.0, this is an inter-university girls-only hackathon organized by the IEEE WIE Students Branch Affinity Group of University of Columbus School of Computing for the 6th consecutive year. So this is an ideathon empowering female undergraduates to discuss and develop solutions to critical issues in our society through cooperation, collaboration, and coordination. The event started with a virtual scholarship awareness session, which is happening right now for undergraduates. And afterwards, registrations will be opening for Hackaholics 6.0, where teams of 3 students from the same university can submit proposals for innovative ideas on given topics. The top 10 teams will be selected based on the creativity, innovativeness, and feasibility of their proposed ideas. And the finalists will compete physically, where they will face a scenario challenge presented by the judges on the event day, and they will have to come up with a creative idea. The winners will, of course, chosen by the judging panel, and the winning teams will be awarded cash prizes as well. And I'll brief you on the objectives of Hackaholics 6.0 as well. One is to empower women in tech and inspire confidence in their career path. And another one is to enhance development skills and offer scholarships or internship opportunities for career development. And also to foster innovation and creative problem solving while engaging with the developer community. And moving on to the next slide. Yes, this is a girls-only hackathon, and only 3 team members can be in a team. There should be 3 team members, and the team members should be from the same university. And to talk to you guys about the timeline, our memory lane, and our prize pool, I would like to invite Nirasha.
Thank you, Diraka. I think I'm audible and visible. So this is our memory lane, and we are holding Hackaholics for the 6th executive time. So that means we are holding Hackaholics since 6 years. So, and these are some of our past memories, and some of them are from the Hackaholic 5.0, which was held on last year. And this is, and the middle post is the winner of last year Hackaholics. And if you guys are lucky enough, and your team would be in a post like this. Moving on to the next slide. Yeah, and this is our timeline. We are hoping to open the registrations on 6th February. And for the proposal submission, you have got nearly a week. And registrations closing on 15th February. And we are hoping to announce the finalist on 22nd February. And the finalist would be able to participate the final day, which is going to be held as a physical event, and it would be held on 2nd of March. And that's all about the timeline. Next slide. And this is our prize pool. So winners got 35,000 rupees and so on. So next slide. And yeah, we are going to open the registrations very soon. So keep in touch with us and take these days to form a team and think ideas and prepare yourself for be the finalist of Hackaholics 6.0. Thank you. Over to you, Nangi.
Thank you, Aki. So let's capture this moment with a group photo before we conclude. So please turn on your camera to take a picture, and also I invite Yuhanga to take the picture. Please turn on your cameras.
So guys, hope you're ready. On my count, say cheese. Let's wait some time.
Y'all can use the background if needed. I've sent it to the chat.
So I think you are ready, and now we are going to take the picture. So on my count, say cheese. 1, 2, 3. Say cheese. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. So as we draw close to the end of today's event, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all our speakers, participants, and organizers. Your contributions have made this session informative and engaging. Also, stay tuned as the registrations open soon for Hackaholics 6.0. So we invite all aspiring girl developers and innovators to participate and showcase their skills in this exciting event. So thank you everyone for your valuable presence and participation. So we eagerly look forward to your engagement in our future events as well. Thank you.